Welcome to Local Voices. I'm Rachel Steele, and with me today, Amanda Clayton. And in the background, you might be able to hear them. Their children, Zoe and Eleanor. They are with a new nonprofit creamery and coffee shop here in Fayette. Thank you for being with me today, Amanda and Clayton.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Now, tell me, how long has Thrive been open?
It's been open about 2 months. We opened on the 4th of July, and it's been like a race, just off to the races right from the start.
I know there's been a lot of local support for it. I see your parking lot is, what you have of a parking lot is pretty full all the time. Where are you located for people who don't know?
So we are right there on Church Street, right across from the First Baptist Church, just behind Peak Performance. As a matter of fact, First Baptist Church has graciously donated us their parking lot, and you can park there and come right on over. That's a fun little partnership that we've been able to work out with them.
And what can people expect culinary-wise when they enter the Thrive shop?
Sure. So we have coffee and ice cream and tea, and we are actually launching our espresso menu.
Nice. And where do you get your ice cream? Because I know there's a story behind this.
Sure. All of our ice cream is actually homemade in-house, and you can actually even see the ice cream being made if you're in there throughout the day while we're in production.
And where do you get most of the elements you use to create the ice cream that you serve?
Definitely try to use local ingredients as much as we can. Now, of course, some of that's just not always possible, but as best we can, we try to do local ingredients. And with it being handmade, homemade in-house, we have the freedom to do a little bit more creative ideas. So if you ever have any creative ideas, we're open to hearing those.
Where is your coffee from?
So we partner with 3 Story Coffee out of Jefferson City, Missouri, and all of their coffee is sourced globally through direct trade practices, meaning that they have a direct relationship with the farmers who grow the coffee, and those farmers are paid a fair and living wage for the coffee they're producing for our shop.
In layman's terms, it's fair trade coffee.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. And really, it's even better than that. It's direct trade because we actually have a relationship with the farmers, or our roaster has a relationship with the farmers, and we're able, anytime we want to go over and see those farmers in any of those countries that we grow in.
Do you know any of the countries that your coffee comes from?
Our Colombian, we've got Guatemala, we've got El Salvador, China, Burundi, Sumatra. That one's Uganda. Yeah, Sumatra is that's our most popular dark roast, and that one's in there quite a bit. So
My mother loves Sumatra.
yeah.
Unfortunately, she has to get it from an evil chain of coffee companies. She doesn't get to come here and try our cool Thrive coffee.
That's right.
But she will in October.
All right.
She's coming home for homecoming. She's a CMU graduate, and it's definitely one of the places I'm going to take her to. You also serve soft drinks in addition to coffee, and those drinks have a story behind them as well, right?
Yeah, maybe a little less glamorous, I guess, than some of the other stuff we do, but essentially Fitz's Soda is a St. Louis company that, it's pretty popular. I'm sure that most people listening to this are very familiar with Fitz's. It's unbelievable to me that we have such a good craft soda company in St. Louis that we do not have access to, that I know of anywhere else in Fayette. So whenever we opened up this shop, I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes for us to get Fitz's Soda in here. And so, yeah, even our soda is Missouri made.
That's great. Now, where did you come up with the idea for Thrive?
So it's been a dream, a long time in the making. Clayton and I love food and eating good food, but even more than that, the community that coming around a table and sharing a meal or a dessert together, the community that creates. We also lead a campus ministry at CMU, the Navigators, and so we had a vision to see our students and the community interact and the rest of the university, and also to do good for the community and globally, especially mission efforts, which is where kind of what our heart is.
So tell me a little bit about your missions, and these, I assume, are mostly faith-based
Yeah.
mission trips. And people can do what to raise money for their mission trip?
The mission in general, right? We already talked about it. It's kind of split into two different segments. There's local missions, and then there's foreign missions. Local missions, we're just going to partner with people that are organizations that are already doing really good work. You know, food bank. There's the Bethesda Ministry out of Faith Family, those types of things, and we're open to other applications. We'll talk about that later. But foreign missions, those are opportunities for people that either have a connection with another mission agency that they're already going with, a faith-based missions ministry that they're going with, or through the Navigators, we take several mission trips. And so we are always looking to send, and there are a couple different ways. First is to apply for a grant. You can apply for a direct grant. So we've got a mission trip with the Navigators that's going to be going to Mongolia, hopefully this coming summer, sending students there to share the gospel, read the Bible with other students. Our hope is that we're able to, any student that says, hey, I'd really like to go on that trip to a place that, quite frankly, isn't entirely friendly to receiving the gospel or faith-based organizations, that we can say, here's one less thing you have to worry about, here's some money to help you out, you know, you can apply for that. Or another way you can do it is we have another program that's a volunteer program. As jobs become available at Thrive, so this isn't always available, but as jobs become available at Thrive, we are able to allow people to volunteer to work at Thrive. And what we do is we take the money that they would have made for their wage and their tips, and we're able to apply all of that to their mission trip. And they're able to receive a little bit more money that way because of some tax breaks and some things we get than they would if they were just a normal average worker for Thrive. And so those are a couple different ways that you can fund your trip.
Nice. So now, what kind of environment does Thrive offer for the customers and the workers? Because I know it's a unique relationship between the customers and the workers at Thrive.
Absolutely. So our tagline is "There's always room." We want people to know there's always room for them to come in and have a meeting, celebrate a special moment in their family, a child's birthday, have a date night, whatever that looks like. But also, if you're coming in by yourself, there's always room for you. Our workers are excited to give you recommendations and just talk to you, hear about your day. We really are trying to create a home away from home, a meeting ground for the community to exist and build relationships with each other.
Well, and that's wonderful, especially for the CMU students who a lot of times this is the first time they've ever been away from home.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And they can come into Thrive, and we suggest that they do because it's a safe environment.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it does feel like family. I've been in there 3 or 4 times so far. I've got to say the prices are good. I don't have a lot of money to go out and splurge on ice cream, but I know I can come in there and get a scoop for $3.
Yeah.
And my current addiction is the sweet cream.
Yes.
I'm a very plain person when it comes to food, as you can probably tell from my choice. And my husband, Tom, his favorite is the blueberry. Tell me about some of the ice creams that they can find this late summer going into fall in Thrive.
Well, the flavor selection is always changing. It's one of the ways we modeled the shop. Our favorite ice cream shop that Amanda and I grew up with, that sort of, it was a bit of an inspiration, more than a bit, a large inspiration for the shop is Sparky's Ice Cream in Columbia, Missouri, which is on 9th Street. And we were there all the time. We were in college. And that's actually where the "There's Always Room" saying came up with, because whenever us and our girls were in town, we'd say, hey, there's always room for ice cream, let's go. And when you go into Sparky's, the beautiful thing is there's going to be 4, 5, 6 flavors maybe that you can always depend on being there. But the rest of it is just you don't know what's going to be there. It's a grab bag, you know, like it could be anything. We go in sometimes and there are off the wall wacky flavors, and we go, ooh, I want that. And that's sort of what we try to model Thrive after. So if you come into Thrive, you are going to get about 6 staple flavors are always going to be there. There's always going to be chocolate of some sort. There's always going to be the sweet cream. Candied pecan is one of those. There's cookies and cream. There's a plethora of
strawberry.
Yeah,
the espresso.
Yeah, the espresso one.
Ooh, I haven't tried the espresso.
The espresso one, or coffee flavor. So we also now just started doing a Ugandan coffee flavor. But there's always going to be those staples, and the rest of them It could be anything. You know, you could have a real spicy flavor like a chai or we call it churro, which is a brown sugar cinnamon.
Raspberry cheesecake, lemon.
You could also end up getting something really wacky like the mango chili lime, which is just we went for it. We tried something fun, and it turned out tasting good. And so people think chili powder in my ice cream, but yeah, it works and it's good.
Savory and sweet at the same time.
Yeah.
Very good. So what happens at the end of the day? I mean, I know you've got some people who are volunteering there to work on their savings for their mission trip, their personal mission trip. The stuff that the store takes in, where do the profits go at the end of the day? Because not many people know you're not just an ice cream shop, you're a non-profit ice cream and coffee shop.
Yeah. All around, our desire is to help people thrive. That's where the name comes from. We are here to help each and every one of our customers thrive, each and every one of our employers thrive, each and every one of our suppliers thrive, including the farmer, everybody from the farmer to the processing to even the shipping guys, if we can do it. The same thing is true with our profits. As we try to help everybody that is coming into contact with the shop thrive, all the money that comes into the shop or goes out of the shop is to help people thrive. So we're nonprofit. Nobody's taking home profit from this business. Nobody's building up equity in it or anything like that. Yes, we pay our workers. That's been a question we've had. Our workers are paid, and we hope we're paying them pretty well. But all of the profit that comes in goes back into the local community. 50% of it does, or overseas, and that could, like I was saying a little bit earlier, go into the food bank. It could go into school projects or affairs. It could go into local churches doing certain things for like elderly women, or you know, we're talking about maybe Coyote Hill doing some stuff out there. Me and my wife would love to see, and we're maybe a little ways from this, but we'd love to see an adoption grant come about for local Fayette families who are looking to adopt. We've adopted ourselves.
I was adopted.
There you go. And so finding the finances for that is incredibly difficult. We wanted to make it available for Fayette families specifically, or maybe Howard County. We'd probably open up to Howard County families that are wanting to adopt. And so that would be one way. There's also the local navigators ministry. There might be some money going into that as well. Mm-hmm. But you know, that all of that money is going back in to serve our community right here. And then we've already talked about overseas.
Yeah, so the short of it is any profits that there are set aside, and then as those quarterly grant applications come up, then they'll be distributed as we're able to.
Sounds very complicated.
And then in addition to that, whenever people, and this is posted in the shop, but when people leave tips on their purchases, half of those tips go to our staff, and then the other half are set aside for the efforts we're working on to reinvest in the community and into global missions.
Let me understand, because this is a family-based business. I've been in your shop. I've seen your children there, and at least I've seen Zoe there. I've met Zoe there, and she's a heck of a waitress. I gotta tell you. But where did you guys meet? And was it through a ministry based organization that you guys met in college?
We both went to the University of Missouri, and we're the same age. We met our junior year of college, actually through the Navigator campus ministry there. God completely transformed our lives while we were in college. We went from having a understanding about religion to having a relationship, a personal relationship with Jesus. And through the course of that, we became friends, and then we became interested in each other, started dating, and didn't think we would land in Fayette, but much longer story than we can tell today. But ultimately, God brought us here to plant a campus ministry because we had a heart to see college students' lives impacted the same way that our life was impacted. College is such a transformative time of life, and so yeah, it's just such a joy. We've gotten to spend the last 10 years of our life investing in college students at CMU. I'll also add that yes, it is a family endeavor, but we only represent 1/4 of that endeavor. The nonprofit is run by a board, and so we are one of the 4 families on that board. And so there are 3 other families that are just as involved as we are, and all have their different roles who have made this come about. There is absolutely zero way that we could have have had the resources and time and talents to bring this about. So Tim and Toby Rost, Paula and Matt Volkman, and Josh and Sarah Jacobs are all on the board and have come together with us, and those were just already pre-existing friendships that were there and have strengthened as we've gotten to go about this endeavor together.
You know what I mean? And that, you say it's a family endeavor. We want that feeling to be felt in the shop, and I think that's the only way you can really have that feeling there is if you have those authentic relationships.
Well, and if you notice when you drive past them on Church Street, normally you will always see a couple of college-age students or a couple of younger working-class people sitting out on the balcony that you worked very hard to build. It wasn't there. I saw this shop going up.
Yes.
But you'll always see a couple or three people sitting there eating ice cream, sipping coffee, and just talking.
Right.
There's no constant iPhone in your face. There's no iPad. They're actually communicating with each other.
Yeah.
And that's very rare in this day.
Yeah.
That you see people communicating with each other on a regular basis. It's a wonderful place to do that. I recommend to all of our listeners, go to Thrive. If you haven't heard of it, tell us again, Amanda, where Thrive is located.
So we are just across the street from First Baptist Church, just north of the square.
On Church Street. And you guys are open from when to when?
Monday through Thursday, 6:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. Friday and Saturday, we also open at 6:30 a.m., but we stay open an extra hour until 10 p.m. And then on Sunday, we open from 4 to 9 p.m.
It is worth mentioning that those are our summer hours, and we're trying to decide exactly when summer ends, according to us. And so fall will probably bring a shift in that schedule. They'll be well posted, and so you'll be able to find those on our social media pages, certainly on our website,
Outside the shop.
on Google, everywhere.
And it's a place for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not just a place to take kids.
Absolutely.
It is not just a place to go drink coffee. It is for all ages. And I've seen that reflected
Right.
in the business model, in the business, and as a customer myself.
Some of our most faithful customers are maybe in that retiree, age bracket up there, and they come in quite a bit for a cup of coffee or to get an ice cream cone. I know we're here to help people thrive, but I'm afraid the diet may be going out the window for some of the customers.
But we do have dairy-free options
We
for
do.
people.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, and we're also excited to be introducing baked goods.
What kind of baked goods?
We have lots of options. We're going to have cinnamon rolls. We're going to have a triple chocolate cake, Rice Krispie treats.
Gooey butter cake.
Yeah, gooey butter cake. Eventually, probably some homemade biscuits. We're looking in the future to have waffles, and so yeah, lots of plans up and
And
coming.
those waffles, by the way, those are a family creation. My wife makes those waffles out of oat flour instead of a wheat flour. So hey, if you've got a gluten allergy or you've got a gluten sensitivity, you can eat these waffles. And they are unbelievable. They are just so good and sweet.
Wow. Okay, like if I wasn't already addicted to the coffee and the sweet cream, I gotta try the waffles.
Absolutely.
So you gotta let me know when the waffles
Okay.
are on the shelf, okay?
Okay.
All right. So thank you so much for being with us today. It's Amanda and Clayton and Zoe and Eleanor out in the hallway. I don't know if you can hear them, but they're part of the family too. And to find out more about Thrive, you can just stop by.
Absolutely.
Visit them on Church Street. And you can also find them online at thrivecoffeeandcreamery.com. Or you can always log on to our Facebook at KPIP-LP Fayette. And Local Voices airs every weekday from noon and then again on 6 p.m. on 94.7 KPIP. And it's the best place to get information on what's going on in your area. And I guess in this case, it would be the best place to get the scoop
There you
Hey.
go.
on
Love
what's
it.
going on in Fayette. Thank you so much for being here. Go check out Thrive. I'm Rachel Steele. We'll be back in a minute. 94.7 KPIP.